Yeah, hi everyone. Welcome to webinar on how to get awesome internships. So we are just waiting for the viewers to join. Then we'll start the webinar. So, so welcome viewers. This is a webinar on how to land awesome internships, and with this will be around 1 hour. And I just have one question for all of you, that whenever you guys have any questions or you want to ask anything, you just need to click on the 3 by 3 grid on the top right corner, and then you have to click on the Q&A app, and then you can ask as many questions as you want, and all of those questions will be answered after this webinar is over. Okay, so we look forward to some thought-provoking questions from you. So let me just start this webinar. So welcome to webinar on how to land awesome internships. So before we start, I would like to give a brief introduction about myself. I used to work for an IT boutique firm, and in my period over there, I have advised many Fortune 500 clients on various contentious and non-contentious issues relating to trademark, copyright, and GI. I've also represented many of them before various courts across India. Currently, I'm working as a co-founder at FLS. So before we start the webinar, I would like to give you a brief introduction about Fusion Law School. So Fusion Law School was actually founded with an objective to bridge the gap between the requirements of the legal profession and the education that is being provided in the law schools. The reason we have named our law school Fusion, because it seeks to provide legal education which is the amalgamation of theoretical as well as the practical aspect of law. And all the courses that we are providing right now, our main emphasis is upon enhancing the employability potential of law students. Okay, so prior to founding the institute, we had an extensive consultation with the legal fraternity and law students, and we were able to came up with the 4 reasons why there was such a huge gap between the requirements of the legal profession and the education that is being provided in the law schools. So first one was outdated and obsolete syllabus. So syllabus most of the law schools are using these days, they don't have any practical relevance to the courses, practical relevance to the requirements of the legal profession. So this happens in actually 2 ways. First of all, there are certain subjects which is of high importance to the legal profession, but they are never taught in the law schools. Again, a good example of this would be law relating to FDI and capital markets. Despite their importance, they are not taught in most of the law schools. The second way the law school curriculum suffers these days is that even though they mandate teaching of subject, the law school curriculum just mandates teaching of theoretical aspects. They don't venture out in teaching of practical aspects. Okay, the second reason for such a gap was lack of faculty member with practical experience. So when we were doing this survey, we realized that most of the faculty members we have across India in the law schools, they don't have considerable experience in the subjects they are teaching. So they are not able to impart the theoretical knowledge, they are not able to impart practical knowledge to their students. The third problem was the faulty evaluation and assessment procedure. So the assessment procedure at law school is actually faulty at its core. They just evaluate the mugging up or memory power of law students. They don't evaluate their understanding of the provision, their comprehension of the provisions, or how well they are able to apply law to the facts and circumstances of a case. So this results in a situation in which students who have a good memory power are able to surpass the students who don't. The fourth reason for such a gap was that soft skills is not provided as a part of the legal education. However, when you come into a legal profession, a lot of soft skills that come into play, and the soft skills are the one which distinguish a average legal professional from a distinguished legal professional. Okay. Now, let me come to the part where what solutions we have adopted at Fusion Law Schools. So the first solution we have adopted is creation of HABM, which means Honorary Advisory Board members. So what we do prior to founding any institute, we create an honorary advisory board which consists of eminent personalities in the particular field of law. So if we are launching a course in IPR, then we'll be creating an honorary advisory board for IPR. If we are launching a course in FDI, then we'll be creating an honorary advisory board in FDI. This honorary advisory board, the responsibility of this honorary advisory board is that to provide us guidance in coming up with the course curriculum, which is as per the requirements of the industry or profession. See, so in this way, you can clearly see that we have adequately addressed the first problem. Now, the second solution we adopt is experienced faculty. So in our opinion, we thought that the best person to teach a particular job is a person who is actually doing that job on a day-to-day basis. So what we are doing at Fusion Law School is using technology. We are creating a structure in which working professionals in law firms and corporates are able to teach on a part-time basis. And because these persons are doing those jobs on a day-to-day basis, they are the best suited to teach the students how to do that particular job in real world. Then the third solution we adopt is soft skills training. So a soft skill trainer is attached with every certificate course we are offering, and they are sometimes from the profession, they are sometimes outside the profession as well, and their responsibility is to ensure that the requisite soft skills is imparted upon the students. Now, the fourth solution that we have adopted is simulator evaluation. So, simulator evaluation is nothing else, is an evaluation in which simulate the requirements of the legal profession. So, all our evaluation systems are designed in such a way that they simulate the legal profession. So, whatever a legal professional is required to do on a day-to-day basis, we make the law students do it in the course itself. So, if if the legal professional is required to give legal opinion, do a lot of drafting, is required to represent its clients before court and before third parties, we make our students do these things in the course itself. So the biggest advantage of this is that, first of all, they came to realize that what are the things that is required from the legal professional, and the second, what are the things that they are not at par with, so that they can improve upon these things in the law school itself. Okay, so in a short, Fusion Law School was founded with an objective to nurture and develop the employability potential in every participant by inculcating skills and knowledge required to excel in highly competitive field of law. For that reason, we have a lot of sister concerns as well, and we also have a job portal exclusively for legal professionals in India. Okay, now coming to the topic of how to land awesome internships. There are certain things I would like to make it clear from the starting is that landing awesome internship is a continuous process and is also dependent upon your academic achievements. You must have seen that, that the students who are doing good in studies are more often than not are the ones who are getting good internships as well. There is no luck behind that. Okay. And the second thing I would like to make it clear is that this webinar will not be providing any magic cure. Okay, so the content of this webinar is more or less derived from the common experience and the common knowledge, and we are not claiming to provide any magic cure. However, we absolutely guarantee that if you strictly apply the guidelines explained in this webinar, you will substantially increase your chances of getting great internships and ultimately a well-paid job. Okay. So, the fourth thing I would like to tell you that awesome internship is a relative term. An internship which is awesome for a person might not be that awesome for another person, and it mainly depends upon the year of study that you are in, your interest, and also the current of knowledge that you possess. A good example of this would be that if a student of first year is placed in a full service law firm like Amachan and Mangaldas, then during his internship he won't be able to provide any kind of help to the associates and the partners who are working there. So if you don't have a requisite level of knowledge, even though you get a internship in a very reputed law firm, that will not be considered as an awesome internship because it won't be able to fulfill the ultimate objective of all the internship, that is to gain knowledge and ultimately a job. Okay. The third thing on which internship can be decided is learning opportunity during the internship. And the fourth one is employment opportunities after the internship. Okay, so the first question that always comes to the mind of interns, that how to decide where to intern. So whenever you ask these questions or research upon this question on internet, you will find that more or less everybody is giving you this typical approach, which says that in first year you should go for NGO or trial court, be it in a criminal or civil lawyer. Second year you should go for appellate court, high court, trial court, civil or criminal. In the third year, you should go for Supreme Court advocates, senior advocates, or law firm. And the fourth year, you should go for corporate firms or judges or judicial clerkship. And in the fifth year, professional and career placement. However, we will like to take a slight deviation from this typical approach that is advocated by almost everyone, which is that in the first year you should follow your interest, and you should not shy away from doing unconventional internships like internships in legal startups or legal blogs. And as said earlier, sticking to NGOs and trial court lawyers is also not bad idea. But however, you should ensure that in the first year you are not doing an internships where you are strictly required to do just legal work, because in first year of 5-year course you're not you don't have that much knowledge that you can strictly do the just the legal work. Okay. In the second year of a 5-year course, you should go for advocates working in appellate court or high court or trial court, or you can also opt for small law firms as well. In the third year, uh, the interns are advised to decide a core area for themselves and also a backup area. So core area can be something like a corporate law, taxation law, or law related to foreign direct investment. Is the ultimate area in which the law student should see himself after 5 years to be working in. But at the same time, he should also decide a backup area, because if he doesn't get in a job in his core area, he should not be forced to join litigation. There should be some backup area in which he can get a job. I advise my students to choose backup areas like IPR or competition law, which are relatively simple and also have a are also budding areas. So there's a lot of employment opportunities in this. So in the third area, you should go for internships in the core area that you have decided or the backup area. But when you're deciding the organization or law firms, you should choose the organization where the learning opportunity is highest. So you should give, in third area, you should give higher importance to learning opportunities. On the contrary, in the fourth area, you will be again going for the core areas and back areas. But in the fourth area, you should be targeting the law firms or the organizations which have a brand value. Fourth year should be targeted as creating a brand value, because it is very optimal, because you have already worked in a smaller law firm. So bigger law firms won't mind you taking in, and because just after fourth year you will be going for employment, or for internships in the law firms with an objective of DPO. So it's better to add some brand value to your CV right now. And the fourth year is the best year for that, because at this time you have a certain level of knowledge, and you can actually contribute something towards the practice in the bigger law firms. And if everything falls into pieces, you might get an employment opportunity in those law firms itself. Now in the fifth year, a law student should only do internship in the core areas, and he should choose the internships in such a manner where the employment opportunity is the highest. So in the fifth area, all there should be in your mind that you are getting a job after the internships. You should not look at the brand value or the learning opportunity. You should be mainly concentrating upon the employment opportunity. Okay. So now, Same thing for the 3 years course. For the 3-year course, students should in first year go for advocates in appellate court, high court, trial court, or small law firms. And similarly, in the second year, the 3-year course student has to decide what are their core areas will be and whatever their backup areas will be. And in the second year, they have to give equal importance to learning opportunity as well as the brand opportunity, brand value that they're gonna take out of the internship. And in the third year, they should only do internships in their core areas and where the employment opportunity is the highest. When the intern has decided like where he will be applying, now the second question that comes into your mind is when to apply. Okay, so in this, there is no simple answer to this question because different organizations have different policies for undertaking students for internship. There are few law firms who take internships who take or register internship for 2 years in advance, and there are certain other law firms who have a policy that they will decide on interns only 2 months prior to the date of internships. So there is a wide range of period that comes into picture, and so that you have to research about these policies before you apply. And in case there is no fixed policy, then the ideal period for applying internship is 3 to 4 months prior to the date of internship. And because it gives you enough time to the law firm or the organization to analyze your internship application, and also gives you enough time to do follow-up work. Okay, and on the other hand, if they have certain fixed policy that you need to apply 6 months prior, or you need to apply 1 year prior to the date of internship, then you obviously have to stick to those policies. Okay, now the question comes how to apply. Okay, so there are two different approaches followed by law student, and most of them I believe is following the spamming approach, and very few of them is actually following the selected approach. Now let me discuss each of these approaches and what are the disadvantages and advantages of these approaches. If you research on the internet, you will always find that everybody is advocating the concept of selected approach, but in my personal opinion, I have seen that even if spamming approach works sometimes, it's not like the spamming approach will never work. But yeah, the results you will get in selected approach will always be better than spamming approach. So let me first discuss the selected approach. Okay. So selected approach at it's quite self-explanatory. It's all about sending your application to a handful of organizations which you think are best suited for you. Okay. So the first advantage of this is that systematically undertaken internship will always provide better results. For the reason, if you have done some certificate course in securities law, and if you use selected approach and you just apply to the law firms who have a name in securities law or capital markets, then there are better chances that you will get selected in one of those law firms, and then you will be able to apply whatever you have learned in theory to the factual and practical cases. Okay. Second, because when you will be going for selected approach, this is quite obvious that you will be going for law firms which have a brand value. So as the chances of getting selected in selected approach is quite high. So the chances of brand value being attached to your CV is also high. Okay. Then, because when you will be going in these law firms, then you will also have an opportunity to make amazing contacts, which will definitely help you in the later part of your life. However, there are certain disadvantages also attached with this. Like in selected approach, there is a lot of work is involved in research and follow-up. And it's a little risky in the early years because the bigger brand value are not interested in taking students in first few years of their career. So I would advise that you should not stick to selected approach. You should not start doing the selected approach after 3 years of your career, and it becomes mandatory for everyone after 4th year onwards. Okay, and another disadvantage of selected approach is that because you are clearly doing everything systematically and by a pre-decided path, so you're not leaving anything to luck. So there are certain opportunities to explore which are going to be missed out. Okay. Now coming to the spamming approach. Spamming approach is all about sending your application to a lot of people, just like that, so that you'll be able to crack at least one of them. This is kind of approach is, I think, followed by most of the law students. And the advantage of this spamming approach, the only advantage of this, I would say, is it involves less amount of work. So you don't have to work that much, because in selected approach you have to do extensive research and study before sending the application. But in spamming approach, you don't need to do that. And to a certain extent, it is advisable only in early years and only in the cases when you are not able to dedicate the time in that is required in the selected approach. Okay. Now there are a lot of disadvantages that are attached with spamming approach. One of them is first is that luck plays a major role. So whether you will be able to crack internship or not, it is mainly dependent upon the luck, and you also get less amount of exposures. The quality of internships that you will be getting will be inferior than the quality that you will get in selected approach. And the last one of them, that you will not be able to get the internship which you are looking for. So this approach should be used in initial years only, where you don't have anything to show for, or you are not very good at drafting the cover letters, or you feel that you are not able to devote as much time to internships as you would like. Okay. Now, once you have decided that where I will be doing internships, and then how I will be applying to them. Now the third question that comes to the law student's mind, that how to draft cover letter. So cover letter plays a very important role in the situation where whether you get an internship or not. So let me start by giving a general idea about the cover letter. Every cover letter for internship must have 4 parts. First one is that which contains the first paragraph, which contains applicant's name, the name of his institution, but it is optional. You may mention the name of institution you are pursuing study, you may not mention. And especially I have seen the students who are from non-NLS colleges or who are from Tier B or Tier C colleges. They sometimes don't mention the name of the institution, and which is perfectly okay. There's no issue with that. And then you should mention the year of study that you are, then the position that you are applying for, which in this case will be obviously the internship, and then you also have to mention the period and the place that you are applying for. The reason, I have also seen a very innovative thing from law students these days, that they are making one internship application for 2 or 3 periods. So instead of giving internship, instead of applying for internship for a particular month, they are applying for internship for 2 or 3 different months. Then they are also applying for internships in 2 or 3 different places. So instead of just sticking to just one place, they are applying for internships to 2 or 3 different places, depending upon the fact wherever the offices of these law firms are. Okay, then the second paragraph would contain applicant's introduction and the achievements he has in the academic world. And then the third paragraph would mention whatever you understand about the organization and how you will be able to add value to that practice. So in this third paragraph, you have to mention whatever information that you were able to gather about the organization, and then you have to convey how you will be able to add value to such a practice. Then the fourth paragraph would be nothing else but the thank you note and your signature. No. So first step of drafting a cover letter, that you have to prepare a standard draft which should be flexible enough that it can be modified for every employer. Okay. Then you have to research about the organization to which you want to apply, And if you have opted for spamming method, then you should invest at least 3 to 5 minutes researching about the organization. On the other hand, if you have opted for selected approach, then you should devote at least 3 to 4 hours researching about the organization that you want to apply. And also, when you have adopted for selected method, you should also ask around your friends about the organization, because of restriction upon legal professionals, legal law firms are not able to publicly display what their actual practice of area is. So whatever information that you get from a law firm's website is not most of the time most accurate version of it. So you should also ask around friends um, who know about that organization, or who have interned in that organization, about whatever knowledge they have. And I also advise our law students to make it a practice that whenever you meet new people or new law students, you should always discuss about internships, and you should always discuss about what's going on for law firms, which will definitely increase your knowledge and understanding about law firms, and it will help you in deciding where to apply, and also how to apply. And before sending the cover letter, you have to at least proofread the cover letter at least 2 times. And as a favor, all the students who are interested in getting a standard draft cover letter can email it to us, and we'll reply them with a standard draft cover letter that we have prepared at our law school. Okay. Now, where to apply? There are n number of opportunities that are open to law students these days, but I would like to just make a list of them. Like, law students can apply for NGOs, independent advocate, law firms, corporate, judicial clerkship, public sector undertakings, government internships like in Ministry of Finance, Competition Commission of India, Ministry of Corporate Affairs, etc. And they can also apply for foreign internships, where they intern in law firms outside India. And obviously, this can be done when you have a definite support and financial and other support backing you up. And these are in addition to these conventional places of internship, a lot of other avenues have also opened for law students. Like there's a lot of legal startup these days. You can intern over there. There's a lot of education institute working in the field of legal education. You can also intern with them. And a lot of legal blogs are also coming up these days. So if you have a flair of writing, you can also intern with them. Okay. Then time and location. So once you have, while sending the cover letter, you have to decide that what time period for which you want the internship, and also the location. So I have seen from my personal experience that students are mainly interested in interning in Delhi, Mumbai, or place of their residence. But I advise students to go for unconventional or a little offbeat location like Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Pune, Bangalore, provided that they are doing an internship in a law firm or an organization which is having a brand value. Because, for example, Amarchand, the criteria of selecting an intern for Amarchand Ahmedabad will be quite different from selecting an intern for Amarchand Mumbai. So, you should take advantage of this, this demographic difference, and try to you can use this in order to ensure that you are adding brand value to your CV. Because whether you intern in Amarchand Ahmedabad or whether you intern in Amarchand Bangalore, they will be of more or less equal brand value will be attached to your CV. So you should take advantage of this demographic difference. And students should also do it because they can learn more about other cities as well, and traveling always expands your knowledge. Okay. So see, the second thing I would like to mention is that best time to intern is obviously during the vacations. However, you should try to take advantages of off seasons if your college permits. So if your college have a break before the final examination, probably you can intern during that 15-20 days in an organization. So you should always keep in mind that during the off season, the competition will be relatively very less. So if there are certain areas, a certain time period in which your college permits your permits your non-presence in the college, you can take advantage of those things and also and do internships in the off seasons. Okay. And the third thing is, if your college is not permitting such a thing, then you should always consider online internships. So Fusion Law Schools it has been pushing this concept very heavily, because we believe that this will um, excuse me, this will change the face of the internships, and this will definitely create a value for the students who are not able to come to cities like Delhi and Mumbai due to financial or other reasons. They can also get they can also get an exposure with working in law firms like in bigger law firms, if they are selected for the online internships. And this will definitely help the students who are studying their courses in tier B cities like Raipur, or Moradabad. So these students can also do year-round internships like students in Delhi and Mumbai are able to do. So, okay. Now the importance of follow-up. See, it is very clear that in a top-notch law firm, due to huge number of applications, your application might get lost. So you have to periodically do follow-up, and you have to, before you start applying for the internship, it is always advisable to prepare a Excel sheet of it, so that you can note down when you have applied and when you have to make the follow-up call. And if you have made the follow-up call, what was the response that you get? What was the response that you got? And then when again you need to make a follow-up call. So whether you are going for a spamming method or whether you are going for a selected method, in both the cases, you should always create an Excel sheet in order to ensure that you are able to doing follow-up. And I have said it to most of the law students that came to me with this problem, that you'll not get internships in bigger law firms or top-notch law firms until and unless you do follow-up. Until and unless the receptionist remembers your name, most probably you'll not be getting the internship. So, see, the ideal time of follow-up is 1 month before the internship, or in case you have recently applied, then follow-up should be decreased to 15 days prior to the date of internship. Okay, so I would also like to add certain general guidelines when students are applying for internships. That I would like to also advise students to have a balanced approach towards academics, co-curricular and extracurricular activities. So you should create a balance between how much time you're devoting to the college studies, how much time you're devoting to co-curricular activities like moot court, research papers, and similarly. And you should also create a balance between the time spent on these two and extracurricular activities. So it will ensure that when you present a CV before an employer, he realizes that you are a more holistic person, and who is willing to do each kind of work. You should not devote all of your efforts in just moot courts, or all your efforts in just writing research papers, and you should forget about your what is required in your law school. So you should create a fair balance between these three things. Okay. The second thing that I've learned from my experience, that don't make bold claims in cover letter or interview. So this is very clear that student, I don't know why, for what reason, they always sometimes make bold claims towards having interest or towards having excellence in particular field of law, which employer more often or not then are clearly able to see through. So my advice to students would be, have some skin in game. So if you're saying that you have interest in corporate law, so before making such claim, it is advisable for you to at least pursue some kind of certificate course, or at least pursue some kind of internship in that field of it. So without having any substance backing you up, you should not make bold claims in your cover letter or interview if you get a chance. Okay. And the third thing I would like to say is you should modify your CV as per the every organization you are applying for, or at least the type of organization you should apply for. So if you are not able to modify your CV as per every organization, you should modify. You should create 4 to 5 standard CVs. So one CV can be for IP boutique firms, one can be for corporate firms, one can be for taxation firms, and one can be from litigation firms. So in these you should try to highlight your achievements in those particular field of law. So just after your introduction and areas of interest, you can also mention the achievements you have done in corporate field. So what kind of internships, or what kind of moot court competition, what kind of research paper, or what kind of courses that you have pursued in the relevant field. So if you can just make a list of 4 to 5 achievements in that relevant field, I think this will substantially enhance your chances of getting an internship. Okay, now it's if everything falls into pieces and you get an internship. Now, how what you should do during the internship, because as I told you earlier also, getting an on-job internship is a continuous process. So when you are getting an internship in particular law firm, you should look at it as a stepping stone towards better internships, towards and if you get better internship, then you should look them as an opportunity to get an employment. Okay, so law students mainly get two kind of works. First is research, and the second one is the drafting. So apart from these assignments, they may be given the task like proofreading of various legal documents, observe the court proceeding, making notes on the client meeting, or they may making notes on various legal issues, or sometimes they're also required to write articles for the law firm. So whatever the work that has been given to you, try to put in whatever you have got. Okay, and try to think from a practical perspective and be ready for the questions that might be asked. So if somebody has given you a contract to read and make a note of it, what are the important elements of this contract for the purpose of due diligence, then you should not just make the note that what happened when a contract is breached. So you should also make a note that what will be the consequences of the breach of the contract. So you have to be prepared for the follow-up questions that your senior associate or associate that might put up before you. Because for a client, it doesn't matter what the legal issues involved. So a client always try to look at from a practical perspective, and that's how you are sometimes required to give an advice. So you have to keep these things in mind, and you should do work assigned to you in the same manner. Okay, you should always be eager to get more work. Okay, and most importantly, never ever say to any kind of work. Sometimes you get tasks like proofreading 56 to 60 long pages, or you have to do contract abstraction. These kind of, even though you don't enjoy this kind of work, when doing the internship, never say no to any kind of work. Okay, and you also have to ensure that during the internship that relevant people are noticing your work. You also whenever you have been given an opportunity, you should never shy away from expressing your opinion on an issue. You might know that you might know that you might be right on that particular issue. Okay, and at last, doing internship, you should make friends and try to have some fun as well, because let's face it, you are in law schools. This is the best time to have fun. Okay. Now the post-internship activities. This is the area where I see that most of the law students are actually lacking. So whenever you go for internship, you must meet at least 5 to 10 people. Then after the internship is over, make sure that you add these persons in your FB and LI account. Okay, so in future, if you want to contact them, you have a established way of doing it, and then you should personally say bye to everyone with whom you have worked. Okay, and after the internship, try to remain in touch with the associates and senior associates with whom you have worked, because these persons first of all might help you in again getting an internship in the same organization, or second, if they move from one organization to the other organization, they might help you get an internship in that organization. And the thirdly, if they are friends with you, and if there's some opening in any law firm that they know of, they can let you pass on this information to you. Okay, so with this we come and end to our webinar on how to land awesome internships. I hope our presentation was beneficial to you. But before ending, we would like to talk about our Advanced Professional Certificate course in IPR. This course, Advanced Professional Certificate course in IPR, is one of the courses that is launched by Fusion Law School, and its fees is rupees 6,999 rupees, and it is a 1 year course, and the next batch will be started from 2015. So as I told you starting as well, our IPR course is also very practically relevant. You will be informed how to do file a trademark, how to what happens in opposition proceedings, how to get a copyright registered, how to get a GI register. All the functional approach of IP will be taught to you in this course. And we have, keeping functional approach in mind, we have very practically relevant topics like IP due diligence, IP insurance, and we have also included domain name dispute resolution, because even though it is not part of IP regime strictly, but it is practiced by almost every IP boutique firm. So, because we wanted to train our students to how to work more efficiently if they join a law firm or IP organization. So we have included this topic as well. Okay, so as I told you in the starting that we create an honorary advisory board for every niche field of area in which we offer courses. So I would like to give you a brief introduction about our advisory board for IPR. So the first member is Mr. Amarjit Singh, is a founding managing partner at Amarjit and Associate. He was also a founding partner of Anand and Anand, but he left in the year 1999, and then he opened his own firm. Then we have Mr. Tarun Khurana, who is a co-founding partner at Khurana and Khurana, which is also another prominent IP firm. Then we have Mr. Bidut Tamuli, he's a partner in Archer and Angel. Then we have Mr. Amitava Chakravarti, who's the IPR, space law and technology consultant in India, US and EU. Then we have Mr. Prabhu Tandon, who's a partner at Kocher and Company. And then we have Mr. Kamal Dave, who's managing partner at Cyber Juris Law Firm. Then we have Ms. Richa Pandey, who's a partner at Krishna and Swarashti. Obviously, Krishna and Swarashti is one of the top 10 IP firm. Then we have Dr. Sheetal Vora, and she's also a partner at Lakshmi Kumar and Siddharan. Lakshmi Kumar and Siddharan mainly is a tax firm, but they do have a good IP practice as well. And Dr. Sheetal Vora heads the IP practice in Delhi. Then we have Mr. Rahul Dev, he's a managing partner at Tech Crop Legal. Okay, so before we end this webinar, we would like to say thanks to our research team, which was Devashish Jain from UPS Law School and Aishwarya Dhancholia from KIIT Law Schools. And we also like to say thanks to all of our campus ambassadors who have put in a lot of efforts in ensuring that this webinar is a huge success. I hope you guys have asked some questions and we'd like to answer them now. So, So I see that still none of our participants has asked any questions. I will request them to ask any questions if they have any doubts, concerns, or suggestions towards our webinar, and we'll be more than happy to address them. So we'll wait for 2 minutes, giving everyone time to ask their questions. It seems like nobody is interested in asking questions. I kept around 15 minutes for the Q&A session. I hope some of you ask questions so that they can be addressed over here. And that was the main sole reason why we had adopted for webinar, so that if there are some certain counter questions that can be addressed then and there only, instead of you know waiting for you to us to email us these questions and then we are answering them in the due course. So I think no one is interested in asking your questions, but I request everyone who have any questions or doubts about this webinar. So if you are not able to ask your questions right now, you can email it to us and we'll be more than happy to answer them. Okay. So with this, we would like to end this webinar and would like to say thanks to everyone who has participated in it. Thank you for your time, and we'll be definitely coming up with the next webinar on the next weekend, and we'll let you know the details of it. Okay, guys, thank you very much. Bye.